Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Another series of Branding Done webinars that we're doing. As you'll know, this one today is about collaborations. There's been a lot in recent times and a few that have been promoted. Always get discussion points. So we thought it was a good topic to talk about and have our take on it, basically. So we're going to run through this today. I'm going to stick to the 18 minutes. That's our challenge when we do these. So it should be quite fast paced. We're going to do a little bit of an intro to what a collaboration is, different types of collaborations, a few thoughts around some, the good, the bad and the ugly, a little bit of a game as well where a prize can be won. And then we'll do our own wrap up and final opinion on, if you're considering a collaboration, what you should think about. And that'll be it. We should deliver that in 18 minutes. That's the plan. And then you can get on with your day after that. So we'll get cracking. So first of all, what is a collab or collaboration? The definitive meaning basically is a situation in which two or more people kind of work together, create, achieve or promote something. So it says two or more people. Obviously that could be two people or it could be two companies, but essentially it's two entities coming together because they decide that they can create something, achieve something that's greater than what they do individually, or they go through the opportunity to promote with a view that they might raise more awareness for their own brand. And then you've got co-marketing as well, which is kind of a similar discussion, but basically beneficial for any brand that wants to broaden their audience. So obviously, if you're going to work with another brand, then that should give you a broader audience. It'll increase brand awareness, clearly. These things get talked about a lot, both good and bad, as we'll show. Offer a new type of content as well. So you might be showing things or talking things or discussing things to a new audience or that hasn't heard your content before. So it gives you an opportunity for your voice to be heard by new people. And then working together to share expertise as well. So there may be something where you collaborate in a different way rather than it just being brand on brand, which we'll talk about in a bit, but you're actually sharing expertise to become greater than your singular parts. And overall offering some value to the world and people within it. So are there different types of collaborations? So you could argue there's probably an endless list of collaborations. You can make up whichever ones you want to, but we picked out 5 specific ones that we'll quickly create a summary on. So you obviously got brand on brand. This is probably the most, well, I'll say the most popular one. It's the one that we've been referencing ourselves, and we'll reference a few of them today. It's where two brands essentially come together and believe that their collaboration is going to do some good, whether that's for themselves from a self perspective or good for the world is up for question. Another one would be a brand and an artist. So in this instance, we're talking about an artist like a fine artist or a graffiti artist or something like that, where they have their own skill and style, and maybe another brand wants to associate itself with that artist and vice versa. And that can become an interesting collaboration. One that's less known is a brand and a competitor brand. So we look at other brands that maybe are in a similar industry, but sometimes it's good that two competitors actually decide to collaborate, which is more rare in the way that humans work, but can have mass benefits as well. Something else that we'll touch on a little bit later. Brand versus a charity and a charity, obviously. So again, I think people will look at this from a brand perspective and think the brand's only doing it to show that they are supporting a charity. But done well and done right, and the right charity being picked for your brand, then clearly the collaboration can have mass benefits, both for the brand that's supporting the charity. The charity obviously gets more visibility as well, and hopefully the charity gets more opportunities for revenue and fundraising streams to come in from the audience that brand happens to have. Again, needs to be done for the right reasons. And then a brand and an influencer as well. So that could be anyone really, but someone who maybe specializes in a particular niche or is known within a particular space on social platforms, has a high level of a following, and that brand wants to tap into that audience. So there's five areas that you could class as collaborations. For me, as we talk through this, we'll all have a reason for being rather than just doing it for the sake of it. And then just to throw this one in the mix, Lego and anyone. So can Lego collaborate with anyone on the planet? It seems to be doing quite a good job of doing that so far. But the question is, can it actually do it with anyone? Its first collaboration with Star Wars back in 1999, clearly a benefit to them. Star Wars is, has a cult following with different age brackets as well. And Lego found that most of their products were bought up until maybe age of 10, let's say, for argument's sake, and then you'd go back around again on a cycle, but they weren't really pushing through that barrier. Whereas now they have up to 18 plus. And obviously the Lego is more complex, but also the collaboration could be more grown up. So that will appeal to older people. And Lego's been used in workspaces as well for kind of creative exercises and team building exercises and things like that. So they've seen collaboration as a mass benefit to them. And we're going to play a little game about Lego in a little bit where someone can win a prize. So we just wanted to bring this in earlier onto the presentation. One of the ones that we've obviously been talking about and promoting is Zara and Clarks collaboration. Our take on this is, obviously they're both in the fashion space, so there's some synergy there. But it feels like Clarks may have done better out of this or benefit a little bit more in our view. Clarks has a certain style to it, a certain brand to it, and you might believe in the shoes from a child perspective for kids, school shoes and stuff like that. But Zara is a global fashion brand. So Clarks is going to benefit here by having a couple of ranges that will be within Zara in the collaboration. And it gives Clarks the opportunity to appeal to a different audience in a particular space with just a few line items as well. They've done some really nice styling and art direction within photography as well to bring the two things together. And they're suggesting that profits should get a boost as well. Recently had 61.7 million profit going up to January 2022, which was up massively from obviously a massive loss in the pandemic. So Clarks suffered in the pandemic, whereas Zara was doing okay. This gives Clarks an opportunity to kind of tap into that Zara audience as well and get their profitability back up. So we think Clarks benefits in that one, but you can see why the collaboration may happen or has happened. The other problem, though, could be that you lose control. So like anything in life, if you are your own brand, you can kind of set your own rules to some degree. As soon as you go into a collaboration, some of it is out of control. If that company does something incorrect or wrong that causes problems globally, then obviously that could impact on your own brand as well. So it's always just consider that there's a risk with any of this because you can't control the other company and the other brand or the individual, an artist or an influencer. Something could go wrong there. Will Smith slapping someone, for example, can cause you a problem. And then obviously a lot of those contracts get pulled. So the Nike Tiffany's one, obviously, this is launched yesterday. It's had quite a bit of hoo-ha, whether it's right or wrong as a collaboration. We just picked out some of the things on social media, really. Nike and Tiffany can go to hell for this. Someone really disappointed with the idea of it going together at all. Whether that's a take on just the concept of the two brands or some of the things they're producing, like the metal whistle and the shoehorn and stuff like that, is really a necessity for that type of stuff. Or are we just using resource off the planet that really wasn't needed in the first place? And then there's bitter disappointment with the end product, someone calling it the lamest shoe possible. So there was excitement about what it could be, but we ended up with kind of just a black normal trainer with a green swoosh on it. Some AI generated content where it was saying the AI generation was producing more engaging, exciting possible collaborations of the shoe, which might have been more appealing to maybe the Tiffany audience as well. But again, we actually ended up with this kind of deadpan black trainer with a green swoosh on it. So people are quite frustrated by it. Some people absolutely hate the idea. Some people disappointed with the output. And also just a question mark over, should it be a thing anyway? Does the world need this trainer? Does it need that collaboration? Does it need metal toothbrushes and metal shoe horns and so forth? Or are we actually using resource that we don't need to use and maybe it shouldn't have been a thing? And then this is a little bit of a game really if you want to join in. Is this a real collaboration? Nike and a McDonald's shoe. You might like it, maybe you might like the style of it, but just if you want to put in the comments a yes or a no whether you think that's a real one. Okay, so we're going to go into a game now. So this is where you can join in. So if you join in, you get most answers right. If it's joint, we'll pull it out of the hat. But basically, I'm going to run through the Lego collabs, and I want you to say yes or no whether you believe it's a real collaboration. So get your fingers ready. We're going to do a collaboration. We'll talk to the winner about the prize, but it could be like contribution to a meal for two at a restaurant or 2 cinema tickets or something like that. So 2 people coming together having a bit of fun basically in their collaboration. So here we go into Lego mode. Lego Minecraft, yes or no? Lego and Adidas, yes or no? Lego and Levi's, yes or no? Lego and IKEA, yes or no? Lego and Stranger Things, yes or no? Lego and Squid Games, yes or no? Okay, so everyone's obviously putting answers there, so we can kind of reveal something. But out of all of those Lego ones there, every single one was a yes, apart from Squid Games. So Squid Games was thrown in because the question is, can Lego partner with everybody, as I said at the start? And the answer probably is no. There's a tipping point that even though you've got 18 plus Lego, there is still an association with something that's quite sinister like Squid Games that then has to be reflected to a 6-year-old child that's buying Star Wars Lego, for example. So our take on it is there's a limit to how far you can go. Stranger Things is probably pushing it a little bit. Squid Games would probably be going too far. But a bootleg company has actually created these Lego figures for Squid Game quite quickly after as a rip-off. So they do exist somewhere. The main thing is to consider the collaboration. So positioning itself, this is just a map of car brands, but you've got to understand where you're positioned in the marketplace to decide whether you can collaborate with someone, because that in itself, if you're a high-end, high quality, you're not going to collaborate with a low-end product, or you shouldn't do. It's going to cause you more problems than it is probably good. So like Bentley, for example, top-end manufacturing, is that going to partner with a Netto or something like that? Just can't happen. But collaborations are starting to stretch a bit too far for me, and it's only going to weaken your brand by trying to partner with someone just because they've got an audience. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, because your positioning should control decision making. Your purpose, why you even exist as a company at all. So Patagonia obviously gets a lot of good press and PR for what it's doing in the world, and it has a really strong purpose. So it could only partner with a few people probably on the planet anyway, if anybody. So it's not going to partner with someone like Shell. It's not got any opportunity to do that at all. Even though Shell might be saying we're going to turn green and we're trying to change the way that we are, there's a point in time where you just can't do it. And then you've got a good one here, Brompton and Barber, they partner, both British design, both British manufacturing, both have similar value sets, a good collaboration. They both begin with B. There's an added bonus as well, isn't there? So a good collaboration can work well. But it should come down to values, like what you actually stand for. So Disney and Stella McCartney, for example, loads of people have partnered with Disney and collaborated with Disney. A lot of the ones I would question as to whether that even needs to exist in the world. We end up with a bag like this. So essentially Stella McCartney's logo on with Mickey Mouse's head on. Do people need that? Is that really a good collaboration? Disney's values are optimism, innovation, decency, quality, community, storytelling. Stella McCartney, there's a bit of a narrative there, always being responsible, honest, and accountable, but making every action count, inspiring trust, celebrating life, having a sustainable vision. I'd question whether all of their values jar against what Disney currently do. So that collaboration for me shouldn't happen anyway. I don't think the world needs it, but equally, your values are being compromised because you're picking a partner that doesn't really stick to the same values at the moment. Disney are trying to change what they do and become more sustainable, but doesn't seem like the perfect marriage to me. So collaborating for the greater good, basically. Toshiba and Motorola years back decided to collaborate basically to try and get intelligence and knowledge and technology, semiconductors and stuff like that. With an opportunity that both those businesses could do well out of that, they can progress, even though they might step in similar territories. There's an opportunity for collaboration for good. And that's why the brand and competitor thing, I think, is interesting. So you might be able to produce something that actually the world needs, will create greater good, is better for people, helps your companies as well, and helps your brand progress and move forward. But to share knowledge and resource to actually create something better on the planet seems to be the right path to me, rather than collaborations that just produce something new for the sake of it, which ultimately tries to increase sales and profitability rather than do good in the world. So it comes down to the final few things for us. Anyone can create a collaboration if they want to. You could phone someone, have discussions around it, and both parties can get carried away and excited by it and maybe see money, an opportunity to make money. But you've got to ask yourself, is that really the reason why we should be creating collaborations? And if you are going to do a collaboration, you should be really asking yourself, do you have these things in place? Have you got a defined purpose as to why you exist as a company? Do you know your own positioning in the marketplace? Do you have really strong brand values that you stand for, and you will not let them fade by going into a collaboration that is completely incorrect? Those three things, there's more to this, but they're the three things that I would definitely focus on to say, if your positioning is wrong, it's a non-starter. If your purpose is wrong, like Patagonia and Shell, it's a non-starter. If your values are wrong, like Stella McCartney and Disney, it should be a non-starter. If you're going to collaborate, you should be collaborating with companies that have complete synergy, that you both believe in, and you think are not going to make any major mistakes in the near future, so that you can collaborate well together. But ideally, that what we create from a collaboration actually serves people and serves the planet, and actually produces something valuable, rather than something that just is a commodity that people buy and companies basically benefit from making money from. So that's our wrap up of collaboration. Hopefully let's give you maybe a little bit more insight into collaborations, but the final point is, if you're doing it, let's do it for the right reasons. Make sure you find kind of a perfect partner in all the different instances. And for us, that'll create a better overall collaboration. I'm sure some money and profit will be made from that, which all companies need to do on the planet. Whether you're not for profit or a charity, you still need to make money. So we're for that, but let's do it for the right reasons. And that is 17:59 seconds, bang on 18 minutes. So that landed well. So yeah, we keep it short, and we'll find out who's the winner. We'll get back in touch for the Lego game. We'll talk about what you want your collaboration to be: restaurant, cinema ticket, something like that. Two people enjoying something, basically. So we'll get back in touch on that. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.